We were recently at a social meetup in Dusseldorf from an event called the Social Melting Pot, which, by the way, was amazing.
Awesome.
We met a lot of amazing international people there that we had really meaningful conversations with, and it was very inspiring, actually. A young man from Jordan approached us and he said, "Hey, I just discovered you have a YouTube channel and I find that so amazing. I've been here in Dusseldorf for 10 days and I have a question for you. What could be the one tip you could give me to make it here?"
Our quick, spontaneous answer was learn German, because it opens the door for everything, especially for him because he's a doctor and he needs to pass his B2 German exam to pass his approbation. That is even more important.
Yes, however, after we got home and that question kept on playing in our heads, the next morning we talked about it again and we realized we should have answered with something else, which we're going to talk about in this video. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly.
Although we stand by our answer that learning German is really one of the most important aspects to make it in Germany, the better answer we should have given that also leads to learning German is it all depends on your attitude. Attitude is everything in life, not just when living or moving to Germany.
Ultimately, the choice is ours on how we approach situations, whether we see them as a positive or negative experience. If we are motivated to learn German, we're most likely going to learn a lot of German. If we're demotivated to learn German, we're most likely not going to learn anything. And to be honest, this is what happened to me the first few years that I lived in Germany. I'm like, why should I even learn German? Why? Until I met you and I realized that with your family, I need to learn German. So I had to have a more positive attitude to learning German to be able to communicate with your family.
The same goes with bureaucratic processes, which we all, including Germans, have to face when living in Germany. And we can either choose to react by fussing and fighting, or we can choose to respond by educating ourselves on what this particular process involves, what documents are needed, how can I actually accomplish that everything will work out smoothly by providing everything that is needed, for example.
Yes, the road is not always easy. However, we believe that we are the ones who choose how we walk it. I think also it's important to remember that when moving to a new country, everything is going to be different and new, for example. I cannot compare how things work in Guatemala with how things work in Germany. They're two completely different systems, different beliefs, different ways, different corruption, different everything. So it's super unfair to say oh, in my country, it works this way. True, but there's a reason why you left the country. And it's important to understand that this system works different and how it works so you can better get used to it. I would argue in Guatemala, I do a lot of things just by nature because I grew up in the system and this is how it is. However, when I've tried to explain you how to do things, you're like, what? Why is this? This doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, actually, it doesn't make any sense. So it's also important to keep that in mind. And again, I think with attitude and positivity and open-mindedness, one can be aware of these tripwires and not fall into that pattern of only fussing and fighting that you just mentioned before. One of the super cool things about the social melting pot that we went to is that there was a lot of people, I think over 100 people, not only internationals, but also Germans. And we had such cool, inspiring conversations with everyone. And I noticed the attitude was so positive among everyone in Dusseldorf. And to be honest, I moved in Dusseldorf in 2012. So it's been 12 years at the time of recording, and the city has changed so much. Now it's a way more international city, and everyone reflected how happy they were to be in such an international city. And one story that stuck with me is one from Laura from Peru. And what I loved about her is that she was carrying around a notebook. And I asked her, what is this notebook? What you doing there? And she's like, oh, here I have all my German words and my vocabulary. And I have free pages that I can write in case I speak to a German in German. And I can keep on studying. I found that, wow, that is so inspiring. I mean, I could have done that back in the day with a little notebook to keep track of my German vocabulary. Again, her attitude is that I'm going to learn German. I'm going to make it. And nothing's going to stop me. And I found that super inspiring, which is inspiring me to learn and improve my German even more.
Another story I would like to share was a conversation with Ziad from Egypt. First of all, what struck me was his beaming, massive, big smile. And you could just feel his energy already from like 5 meters ago. So I was like, hey, Who are you? Where are you from? Tell me a story. I want to get to know you. And during our conversation, I noticed something because he was showing me something on his phone and whatsoever. And then I just got a glimpse on his locked screen. And his locked screen had the German passport cover on it. You know, like the red page where it says Bundesrepublik Deutschland, Reisepass. And I was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Show me your phone again. So he just showed me the phone with the black screen. I'm like, no, show me the locked screen. And he touched it and I'm like, what is that? That is so cool. And he just grinned at me and said, yeah, I always keep my goals close. And I got immediate goosebumps. He's like, yes, I've been here now almost 3 years. So I have like 2-3 more years to go. And this is what I want to get. This is my goal. And I was just really, I'm getting goosebumps right now. So impressed. And this inspired also this video that it's all about attitude and knowing your why, knowing what your goal is, and really not letting get anything between, even though there are small obstacles, not letting anything throw you off the path and just carrying that energy with you.
That is amazing. That is so inspiring. Again, people say visualize your goals, right? And I mean, how better way to visualize it than having on your lock screen. Another story I would like to share is from a Guatemalan named Pablo, and we were at his picnic actually last weekend, and he was playing his music, and there was actually more Guatemalans there than I have ever experienced in Düsseldorf, and we were all like, wow, this is such a good playlist. And he's like, yeah, it's called Latin Cure for Seasonal Depression. And then we all laughed and I'm like, what is that? He's like, yeah, when winter hits here in Germany and it's 4 p.m. and it's dark, I put this playlist on and it just brings my energy up. So he has developed this system. He knows himself and the effect music has on him. So he has little hacks like that to bring his spirit up when it's winter here, for example. Again, his attitude is not like, oh, just another rainy day. It's what can I do? How can I see this as a positive? Because everything in life has a positive as well as a negative. It's just a rule, right? So how can we focus on the positive and keep that attitude of persistence? I think it's super important. Big aspect of this is remembering the why are you in Germany and why do you live here? In my case, my reasons are bigger than life. I'm here for a better quality of life, to be able to hold Yvonne's hand in public and not be judged, to have security, to be able to be at a picnic and not worry about getting mugged, which is super popular in my hometown. And my why is just the reason why it keeps me here. And I see everything in perspective to my why. But I would say for some, the why is maybe not that big. And they could be super unhappy in Germany because maybe they know better, they've been better, and they have been in better places. And in those cases, maybe it's time to reevaluate, do I belong here? Do I want to belong here? It's a big question. Or is it time to move on? Because a big question is if you want to belong here, you will belong here, which is what I have achieved. And I am so happy with my life in Germany. But of course, this is my life, and what I have built doesn't mean it has to be for everyone, right? But what's super cool thing about the social melting pot is that I felt that all the people that we spoke to, they all felt that same energy. And they were here for a bigger than life why, and they're just making it work, and they were just so positive and full of energy. So maybe another tip is also surround yourself with such people, because all the conversations that we had, we went back home and we were so happy and grateful and wow, this is so awesome. We've also been in other meetups where it's wow, everyone was just complaining, negative vibes, negative energy, and then you're drained, right? But if you're surrounded also by positive people, imagine Saeed with his phone lock screen. How motivational is that, right? So what is my goal? I'm going to put in my lock screen, And those are the people that we also need to surround ourselves with.
The point we want to bring across with this video is that Germany can be your first start. It can be your new home. It can be your stepping stone, and it can be whatever you want to make it. The choice is yours.